yatto yatto yami bahir nasimha kamala mare vedabhuta singham dalita nanyakasya
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
पानी निकालने के लिए रखे
अमल बहुत सुंदर हो गई।
Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. In 1849, Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left Grihastha life after the death of his wife. He moved to Vrindavan and took initiation from Shri Bhagavad Das Babaji, a disciple of Shri Jagannath Das Babaji. For over 30 years, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji stayed in Vrindavan performing bhajans under the tree at Giri Govardhan, Nandagram, Asana, Radhakund, Suryakund, Ravan and Gokul. Sitting in seclusion, he chanted 200,000 names of Krishna every day, 128 rounds of japa. He felt painful separation from Radha Govinda and cried profusely. As he wandered through the Dwadash 12 forest of Vrija, he would loudly chant the holy names in a deep voice full of lamentation. He would also relish the following bhajans. Kothe go prema mai, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, go jai Radhe Radhe, dekha diya pran, rakho Radhe Radhe, tomar kangal, tomar dape, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Vrindavan, Vilasani Radhe Radhe, Radhe Kau Manu, Mohini Radhe Radhe, Radhe Ashtasar, Shakir, Shiromani Radhe Radhe, Radhe Rishabhanu, Nandi Radhe Radhe. O Radhe Radhe, where are you? O goddess of ecstatic love. O Radhe Radhe, all glories to you. O Radhe Radhe. O Radhe Radhe, please show yourself to me and thereby maintain my life. Your most despicable fallen servant calls out to you, O Radhe, O Radhe, O artful enjoyer of Vrindavan, O Radhe Radhe, O Radhe, O enchantress of Kalu's, Krishna's mind, O Radhe Radhe, O Radhe, O Christian of your 8 main girlfriends, O Radhe Radhe, O Radhe, O delightful daughter of Maharaj Vishnu, O Radhe Radhe. Srila Babaji Maharaj's mood of renunciation was unparalleled. Sometimes he ate mud from the banks of Radhapur or the Yamuna. Other times he took Madhukari from Brajvasis. Madhukari is a Babaji's daily practice of begging a little food from 1 to 7 houses. Just as a bee collects a drop of honey from each flower, he saw all the Vaishnav Brajvasis, resident of Vrindavan, as being the direct personal associate of Radha and Krishna. As a result of his vision, he would pay respect to every person, cow, animal, bird, tree, creeper, insect, and in the holy dham. While staying in Varsana, he made a flower garden every day for Rai and Radha Krishna. After 30 years of rendering intimate services to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, Babaji felt inspired by divine couple to see Sri Navadip Dham. He visited all the Leela sthans of Lord Gauranga in Gaurmandal. In Navadip, he used to sing one bhajan, which means, by receiving Nitai's mercy, one gets Gaurang's mercy, which makes one eligible for Krishna Prem. With Krishna Prem, one can attain the service of Srimati Radharani and the Gopas. Gaur Kishodas Babaji was the embodiment form of Sri Rupa Raghunath's renunciation. Completely detached, he would wash discarded clothes to cover his body. He drank from a rejected clay pot. Parched rice mixed with Ganges water, or simply some mud from Ganga's bank sustained his life. He carried 2 books written by Sri Narottam Das Thakur, Prarthana, Prema Bhakti Chandrika. On Ekadasi, he didn't eat or drink a drop of water. Recognizing him to be a Bhakta, many tried to serve, but he never accepted. Regularly he associated with and heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod in Swananda Sukund Kunj in Godrum Dweep. Constantly absorbed in bhajan, Srila Babaji Maharaj had no desire to make disciples. On the request of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, however, he reconsidered upon seeing the true humility and deep attachment of Thakur Bhakti Vinod's son for bhajan. Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji accepted one disciple, Sri Vishwanandi Daityadas, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. To keep mundane people from approaching him for material boons, he once resided in the lavatories at the Tuila Dharamshala in Koiladi for 6 months. When public officials came offering to build him a proper bhajan kutir, Babaji Maharaj locked himself inside and said he already had one. He believed that associating with materialistic people was much worse than the smell of the stool in the latrine. Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj advised a Calcutta doctor who wanted to open a free health clinic in Navdeep Dham. If you really want to live in Navdeep Dham, then give up your desire to run a free clinic of healing sense enjoyers. If you want to render substantial service, then renounce everything except what promotes Hari Bhajan. All other kinds of duties and services simply bind one to the ghastly circle of karmic reactions. Babaji Maharaj spoke gravely to a newly married man. A Vaishnava wife is extremely rare and difficult to find in this world. If one has good fortune of having one, he should see it as a benediction from Krishna. The wife worships the husband as her lord and master. Similarly, husband should worship the wife because she is Krishna Dasi, a servant of Krishna. In this way, the husband can protect his devotional enthusiasm by not considering his wife to be his maid servant, but she is always the maid servant of Krishna. One who wants bhojan, eating palatively, will spoil his bhajan, was a favorite quote of Srila Babaji Maharaj. In other words, eating here and there simply to gratify the tongue, bhojan, destroy any attempts to worship Krishna, bhajan. Once a devotee ate some festival prasadam in his bhajan kutir. Babaji Maharaj would not speak to him for 3 days. On the 4th day he said, "You accepted festival prasadam given by low-class heralds and beautiful women. Because you took food without considering its origin, your bhajan is useless." The essence of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's instruction, the divine name of Krishna, offers the one and only shelter. One should never try to render Radha Damodar's transcendental pastimes by artificial methods. Constantly chanting of the divine names will purify the heart. The chanting Harinam, the syllables of Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, will gradually reveal the spiritual form, qualities, pastimes of Sri Krishna. Then you will realize your own eternal spiritual form, service, and the 11 particulars of your spiritual identity. In pursuance of Babaji Maharaj's statement, "Drag my dead body through the streets of Navadvip," a group of so-called advanced devotees proposed to commit the said sacrilege. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, however, challenged them. According to Shastra, one who has had carnal association with the loose woman within the last 24 hours is contaminated and therefore not qualified to touch my Guru Maharaj. Hearing this bold statement, the black-hearted Brahmanas made a hasty retreat. On 19 November 1915, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj joined the eternal blissful pastimes of Gandharvika Giridhari. His beloved disciple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, established his samadhi on the banks of Sri Chaitanya Mutt's Radha Kund, near Lord Chaitanya's Yog Peeth in Sridham Mayapur. In Vraj Leela, he served Srimati Radharani as Gunamanjari. His Pushpa Samadhi stands beside the Radha Kund Bihari Gaudiya Mutt near Radha Kund.
समाधि मुख से है ना ये
Yes, Maharaj.
कंप्यूटर में देखिए पूछा दशताटुला लेकर आ रहे हैं सत्तापुर चेक करके लेके आ रहे हैं
Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. In 1849, Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji left Grasta life after the death of his wife. He moved to Vrindavan and took initiation from Shri Bhagwat Das Babaji, a disciple of Shri Jagannath Das Babaji. For over 30 years, Gaur Kishore Das stayed in Vrindavan performing bhajan under the tree at Giri Govardhan, Nandagram, Vasana, Radhakund, Suryakund, Raval, Gokul. Sitting in seclusion, he chanted 200,000 names of Krishna every day, 128 rounds of japa. He felt painful separation from Radha, Govinda and cried profusely. As he wandered through the Dwadash 12 forest of Raja, he would loudly chant the holy names in a deep voice of lamentation. He would also relish the following japa, following bhajan. Kothaya go Premamoy Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe go Jai Radhe Radhe, देखा दिया प्राण राखो राधे राधे, तोमार कुंजल तोमार डाके राधे राधे, राधे वृंदावन विलासनी राधे राधे, राधे कनु मन मोहिनी राधे राधे, राधे अष्ट सखीर शिरोमणि राधे राधे, राधे वृषभानु नंदिनी राधे राधे. O Radhe Radhe, where are you? O goddess of ecstatic love. O Radhe Radhe, all glories to you. O Radhe Radhe. O Radhe Radhe, please show yourself to me and thereby maintain my life. Your most despicable fallen servant calls out to you. O Radhe Radhe.
पहले ये वाला पढ़िए.
Yes,
इसका ये 1 2 3.
ma'am. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. For one who really wants to cross the material ocean and who wants to engage in service of Lord without any connection with anything material, seeing a materialistic engaged in sense gratification and seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Chaitanya Chandroye Natika 8.23. The letter and spirit of this verse was the very life and soul of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He never accepted anything from materialists. He used to find cloth discarded from the bodies of the dead at the burning hearth. After washing it in the Ganges, he would tear it into pieces to make one outer cloth and copings. He would beg some handful of parched rice from the houses of pious and saintly Grastas, and then he would go and soak that rice in Ganges until it was soft. After adding some salt and pepper, he would take that as his sustenance. He would not beg for anything more than this. He was completely without material desires. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Math and Sri Gaura Math, as well as their various branches, took Bhagavad Diksha from his from this Siddha Mahatma. This great soul perfected spiritual master. Of course, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is a Mahapurusha, a great personality, a Nishkinchana devotee, free from all material goods. Still, in connection with the shelter he accepted previous to manifesting his greatness as a devotee, it has been learned that he took birth in a Vaishya family by the bank of river Padma near Tefakola in a place called Bhagyan. When Babaji Maharaj was living in the Grasta ashram, his name was Vamsidas. At that time he was maintaining his life by farming ponds. In this way, doing honest work and living a regulated life according to the principles of scriptures, along with his chaste and humble wife, In this way, he lived for some time. Gradually, he began searching for the ultimate meaning of life. Finally, the time for renunciation came. Breaking off his connection with his wife once and for all, he left family life behind and went to Vrindavan. There he came in connection with Bhagavad Das Babaji Maharaj, one the disciples of that topmost Vaishnava, Jagannath Das Babaji. From Bhagavad Das Babaji Maharaj, he accepted the dress of one in the renounced order of life and thus became a Babaji. After first having wandered the 64 miles of Vrindavan, visiting all the holy places there, at this time he maintained his life by practicing Madhukari and sleeping under different trees each night. He saw all the residents of Vrindavan as being the direct personal associate of Sri Krishna and offered his obeisances to every tree, creeper, insect, and locust in the holy dham. For many days he stayed in Barsana. There, among other kinds of services that he rendered, he would constantly make flower garlands for Radha and Krishna. In this way, he enjoyed great transcendental happiness. Srila Babaji Maharaj stayed in Vrindavan for nearly 30 years, experiencing great inner satisfaction by render all kind of service to the master and mistress of Vrindavan, Sri Radha and Krishna. After this time, by the mercy of divine couple, he was ordered to go to Navadvip Dham in Gaud Seeing Navadvip Dham as not different from Vrindavan, Babaji Maharaj made his way to Gaur the holy place of Sri Gaur Sundar's sweet pastimes. There he visited all the holy places connected with Lord Gauranga. At this time, Babaji Maharaj constantly found himself overwhelmed by different divine moods of ecstasy. Sometimes, in one of these moods, he would go to the bank of Ganges crying, Gaura, Gaura, and dancing, then fainting in ecstasy. On the banks of Ganges, there was a small forest grove. There he would wander, lost in ecstasy, ecstatic remembrance of the divine pastimes of Radha and Govinda. Sometimes he would wander in the jungle, oblivious to his own bodily existence, dressed only in his popin, and sometimes he would simply wander about naked. From time to time, he would quietly chant the holy name with the help of his mala, his rosary or tulsi beads. And from time to time, he would chant japa using a knotted cloth as beads to count the names on. From time to time, he would go to Swananda Sukhan Kunj in Bodrum. There he would stay on the porch of Bhakti Vinod's palace and hear from his lips the sacred message of Srimad Bhagavatam. For his own part, Bhakti Vinod himself was very eager to render such a service to Babaji Maharaj, who would accept nothing material and whose service was difficult to get. How difficult it was to get the service of Babaji Maharaj is illustrated by the following example. Once the Maharaj of Kasi Bazar, Manindra Chandra Nandi Bahadur, sent someone to fetch Babaji Maharaj to his royal palace. At that time, Babaji Maharaj said, if I were to go to king's palace, the desire of riches would arise within me. So, in the king's company, mutual ill feelings would develop between me and the king. If the king wants to be my friend, tell the king to leave behind all his material opulences and the objects of enjoyment and come here where I am. He can live here with me and live just as I am doing. He can make a small covering out of a straw, like those used for covering the boats used by the fishermen. There, the two of us can live, the king and I, and together we can worship Hari in great ecstasy. Babaji Maharaj used to say that one who wanders here and there to gratify the tongue, eating anything and everything in pursuit of enjoyment, bhojana, will find his worship, his bhajan is in vain. In other words, one who wants bhojan will spoil his bhajan. Once a devotee named Hareen Babu in his bhajan kutir in Navadvip Dham accepted some festival prasadam in his bhajan kutir. For this reason, Babaji would not speak to him for 3 days. On the 4th day, he said, in your bhajan kutir, you have accepted festival prasadam given by low-class heralds and a beautiful woman. Because you have eaten things without regard for those they have from where they have come from, your bhajan is useless. Once on the anniversary of the disappearance of Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Babaji Maharaj said, this afternoon we shall have a great festival, a Mahotsav. For this holy day marks the passing of Srila Sanatan Goswami. His servant, who was nearby at that time, heard him and asked, where will you get the things we need for the festival? Srila Babaji Maharaj explained, we have no need of anything. We may fast and chant the holy name of Krishna, and in this humble way we shall enjoy a great festival. One day, a resident of Agartala named Sri Narendra Kumar Sen came to visit Srila Babaji Maharaj. He wanted to give the Siddha Pranali, the path of perfection. Srila Babaji Maharaj told him, you cannot know Bhagwan through your fanciful imagination. If you go on chanting the holy name, you will gradually realize the internal meaning of its syllables. The Surup of the holy name will manifest itself. The sadhaka at that time will also realize his own internal self. At that time also, the sadhaka will awaken to his particular divine service to Sri Krishna, the service that will be dear to his heart upon attaining perfection. Once a certain doctor told Srila Babaji Maharaj that he wanted to come and live in Navadvip Dham so that he could heal people for free. At that time, Srila Babaji Maharaj told him, if you really want to live in Navadvip, then give up your desire to set up a free clinic. Give up your plans to help the sense enjoys by healing them. If you want to render some substantial service, then give up everything except what promotes Hari Bhajan. All other kinds of service and duties simply bind one to a ghastly cardiac reaction. Biography number 2. In 1849, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji left Grasta life after the death of his wife. Why we have read this, so I will open the second tab which Prabhuji have given. Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj biography. He was the guru of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, the founder of Chaitanya Maths and Gaudiya Maths. This Vaishnava saint's life was an example of utter humility and poverty, the true attributes of a Vaishnava. Gaur Kishore never accepted anything material from anyone. For his clothing, he used the discarded lion clothes from corpus left on the banks of the Ganges. For food, he'll collect rice by begging, soak it in river water, and garnish it with salt and chili. He never asked favors from anyone and lived a fully retired life devoid of all possessions. Very little information is available about the past life of Gaur Kishore Das, except that he was born in a Vaishya family in the village of Bhagjan near Tepakola on the bank of the Padma. As a householder, Gaur Kishore Das was known by the name Vansi Das. At that time, he was engaged in some agriculture trade and from the income took care of his wife and family honestly. After passing away of his wife, Gaur Kishore Das renounced his home and went to Vrindavan, where he was initiated into Vairagya Vesh by Bhagavad Das Babaji, one of the foremost disciples of Jagannath Das Babaji. Gaurkishore lived on Madhukari and slept beneath a tree. He would lie prostrate, offering his humble obeisances to the residents of Vraja, considering them as embodiments of Lord Krishna. He even offered his obeisances to the flowers, trees, and land around him. He spent about 30 years in at Vrajmandal serving the deities there. Afterward, he left for Navadvip. During his stay at Navadvip, Gaurkishore underwent various transformations of spiritual moods. Sometimes he danced on the banks of Ganges chanting Gaura, Gaura, while at other times he would lie on the ground in an unconscious state. He joyfully moved throughout the groves located on the bank of Ganges, considering them sites of the divine sports of Radha Govinda. His only clothing was a strip of cloth around his waist and often went totally naked. He chanted japa on the beads or sometimes knotted a cloth and used that as a substitute of japa beads. Occasionally he went to Godrum to listen Bhaktivinoda Thakur recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Every virtuous person looked forward to rendering service to Gaurkishore. However, he rarely allowed anyone the chance to serve him. Once, Manik Chandra Nandi, the Maharaj of Kashim Bazar, sent a distinguished messenger to escort Gaurkishore to the former's palace. Gaurkishore, however, did not accept Maharaj's invitation, saying that if he visits the palace, he may feel tempted by the wealth of Maharaj, which may result in a strained relationships between the two. Hence, Gaurkishore thus suggested that instead of him visiting the palace, let the Maharaj free himself completely from the shackles of wealth by donating everything he owned to his relatives and then come to live with Gaurkishore in a specially prepared shed where both of them could practice Hari Bhajan in peace. Gaurkishore was very selective about accepting invitations for food, knowing it could adversely affect the spiritual life. Once a devotee named Haren Babu partook the prasadam offered at the festival held at Bhajan Kutir in Navadvip. For this, Gaurkishore stopped communicating with Haren for 3 days. On the 4th day, Gaurkishore explained that prasadam of the above festival had been financed by a woman of a questionable profession. Once, on the eve of Sanatana Goswami's disappearance day, Gaurkishore decided to celebrate the occasion. The devotee attended him asked who would provide them with the materials for the celebration. Gaurkishore replied, "Remember not to speak to anyone about it. We shall miss a meal and continue around the clock chanting the holy name. This could be the typical festival for those of us who have taken the vow of poverty." Narendra Kumar Sen, a resident of Agartala, Tripura, once approached Gaurkishore to learn about Guru Pranali or Siddha Pranali. Gaurkishore told him, "The Supreme Lord cannot be realized through worldly knowledge. Only through the chanting of holy names can the true nature of Lord be revealed. As the Lord is revealed from the letters comprising the Naam, the devotee gradually begins to understand his own nature and become acquainted with Seva." Once a physician told Gaurkishore that he intended to move to Navadvip and take up a charitable practice. Gaurkishore advised the physician that if he truly desired to live in Navadvip, then he should give up the plan of charitable practice because it would only encourage materially minded people to save money. Those who sincerely practice Hari Bhajan should never get distracted by chains of welfare activities. A young seeker wearing a kopin once stayed with Gaur Kishore for some time, for some days. Later he arranged through the agency of an employee of a female estate owner to obtain 5 kathas of land as a donation from the woman. When Gaur Kishore heard about this, he was extremely annoyed. Nobody Dham is beyond this material world. How can a worldly landowner dare to hold land here and even think he can donate 5 kathas out of it? A mere grain of sand of transcendental Navadvip is more valuable than all the precious gems in this world put together. Moreover, how advanced could this young coffin clad devotee be if he dares to collect so much land in lieu of his bhajan merit? Once a devotee offered some sweets to Lord Gauranga and then took the offering to Gaur Kishore, urging him to partake of it. Gaur Kishore told the devotee, those who are non-vegetarian, those who commit adultery or offer food to Lord Gauranga with a particular motive, their offering never reach Gauranga, Lord Gauranga. Their offering never reach Lord Gauranga and are never sanctified as prasadam. Gaur Kishore regularly begged for rice, and after which he would cook the rice, offer it, and partake the prasadam. He never touched any foodstuff offered by someone else. Once during monsoon, Gaur Kishore stayed in the rest house at Fulia, Navadvip. Some prasadam was left in the vessel for him to respect later. Meanwhile, a snake passed by the vessel and a woman there happened to notice it. When Gaur Kishore sat down to take prasadam, the woman appeared there and informed him about the snake. Gaur Kishore, however, firmly stated that he would not touch the prasadam until the woman left. After the woman left, Gaur Kishore said, look how Maya works. Taking the form of compassion, Maya attempts to hit deep into her target slowly. Maya can consume countless forms. She always prevents a mortal being from practicing Hari Bhajan. Giri Babu and his wife once ardently requested Gaur Kishore to stay in their house at Navadvip. Gaur Kishore was moved by their sincere devotion and finally agreed to oblige them on the condition that he would live only in their toilet room where he would perform Hari Bhajan. Giri Babu tried to persuade him to change his mind, but Gaur Kishore remained firm. Giri Babu reluctantly arranged to have the toilet thoroughly cleaned and Gaur Kishore used it for Hari Bhajan. A realized soul can practice Hari Bhajan anywhere in an unconcerned manner, and wherever he resides, that place becomes Vaikuntha. Gaur Kishore was a highly spiritually advanced soul. He never allowed deceitful practices or any discussions which was not within the purview of the holy books. One day when a devotee questioned Gaur Kishore about a well-known reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam who was in the habit of chanting Gaura, 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 Kishore remarked, he doesn't say Gaura, Gaura. Rather, what he means to say is money, money. Those who recite Srimad Bhagavatam for payment are not entitled to chant the name of the Supreme Lord. Gaur Kishore never delivered discourses openly, yet his spotless character drew everyone to him. Upon meeting Gaur Kishore, such a staunch materialistic would become inclined to take up Hari Bhajan. In November 1915 AD, on Ekadashi day, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji breathed his last. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati himself arranged to bury the mortal remains of his revered Guru. Gaur, yes. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj biography. Namo Gaur Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murte Vipra Lamba Rasam Mode Pranam Bhoje Namaha. I go to your lotus feet, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, the embodiment of renunciation and the ocean of sacred rapture in separation. Early life. Paramhamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was born into a Vaishnava family on the banks of Padma River in Bhagian village in Faridpur district, what is now Bangladesh. The name of his parents are unknown. His given name was Vamsi Das. He was born sometime in the middle of the 19th century. He is important to us because he was a Diksha Guru of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, founder of the Chaitanya Math and the worldwide Gaudiya Math. Vamsidas' parents had him married at an early age according to the customs of the time, but always remained detached from household life. His main interest was always worshipping the Lord. When his wife died, he left home and went to Vrindavan, where he took Paramhamsa Vesh from Bhagavad Das Babaji, a disciple of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and took the name Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Gaur Kishore comes to Navadvip. After being initiated into Babaji order, Gaur Kishore Das spent 30 years in Vraj, engaged in intense religious practice. He also travelled outside Vraj area visiting northern India and Bengal. While in the east, he met many of the leading Vaishnavas of Bengal and Odisha, such as Swarup Das Babaji of Puri, Bhagwan Das Babaji of Kalna, and Chaitanya Das Babaji of Kulia. In 1893, when the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inaugurated at the Sri Mayapur Yoga, Jagannath Das Babaji ordered him to stay in Navadvip. This is where Gaur Kishore remained for the rest of his life. He saw all the residents of Navadvip with transcendental eyes, considering them to be divine beings. He thus accepted Madhukari from them, cooking everything in a rejected clay bowl. It is said that sometimes he would subsist on nothing but Ganges, water and mud. Sometimes he would go for long periods without eating, chanting the holy names constantly. He set the standards of those in the renounced order who lived the life of solitary worship, remaining completely independent of others. Mahaprabhu's personal envoy Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, Mahaprabhu's personal envoy Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was extremely impressed by Gaur Kishore's extraordinary renunciation, pure devotion, and his attachment to the Lord. Gaur Kishore would often go to Bhakti Vinod's home in Bodrum, Swananda Sukunda Kunj, where he would listen to him reading the Bhagavad and discuss Vaishnava theology with him. Saraswati Thakur meets Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj never accepted service from anyone. He constantly chanted the holy name, sometimes counting the names on a tulsi mala, at other times by making knots from long string of an old cloth. His favorite texts were Narottam Thakur's Pratna and Prem Bhakti Chandrika, which he considered to be all in all. His renunciation resembled that of Raghunath Das Goswami, and he possessed the same attachment. In 1898, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur for the first time at Swananda Sukund Kunj in Bodrum Dweep. Saraswati Thakur was enchanted by Babaji Maharaj's heartfelt emotional kirtan. He wrote the Kirtan down and later taught it to his own disciples. The song describes Raghunath Das Goswami's ecstatic separation from Radhe. Pote go. Shall I sing this song? Pote go prema mai Radhe 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 go jai Radhe Radhe देखा दिया प्राण राखा राधे राधे तोमार कंगन तोमार दाके राधे 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 वृंदावन विलासनी राधे 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 कानु मन मोहिनी राधे 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 अष्ट सखीरा शोमनी राधे 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 वृषभानु नंदिनी राधे राधे गोसाई नियम करे सई दाके राधे राधे गोसाई एक बार दाके काशी घाट राधे राधे आवार डाके वंशी बट राधे राधे गोसाई एक बार दाके निधु बने राधे राधे आवार डाके कुंज बने राधे राधे गोसाई एक बार डाके राधा कुंड राधे राधे आवार डाके श्याम कुंड राधे राधे गोसाई एक बार डाके कुसुम बने राधे राधे आवार डाके गोवर्धन राधे राधे गोसाई एक बार डाके ताले ताले बन राधे राधे आवार डाके तमाल बन राधे राधे गोसाई मलिना वसन दिया गए व्रजेर धुलिया गरी गराए जाए राधे राधे गोसाई मुखे राधे राधे गले विष्णु नारायण ने जय राधे राधे गोसाई वृंदावन कुला कुली केंद्र गलिए राधे गली राधे राधे गोसाई चपन दंडारत त्रिदिन जनेना राधा गोविंद बिना राधे राधे तार पर चरी नंदा सुप्ति डाके स्वपने राधा गोविंद डाके राधे राधे Where is the incarnation of love? Radhe Radhe. Glories to Radha. Show yourself to me. Radha, give me back my life. I have become a beggar for you. Radha, I am calling you. Oh Radha, you caveat in Vrindavan. You enchant Krishna's mind. You are chief amongst the 8 Sakhis and a daughter of Vrishbhanu. Raghunath Das Goswami regularly, constantly calls out to you, Radhe. He calls for you in Kesi Ghat, in Vamsivat, Nidhuvan, Kunjavan, in Radhakund, Shyamkund, in Kusum Van and Govardhan, in Talvan and Tamalvan. He calls out wearing only a worn and dirty clothes and rolling in the Vrindavan dust. The names of Radha on his lips. His eyes are filled with tears. He wanders through every part of Raja, calling Radha's name. Night or day, for 23 hours, he thinks of nothing but Radha and Govinda. And when he sleeps, he dreams of Radha and Govinda. Gaurav initiates Srila Prabhupada. In January 1900, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur took initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji on the instructions of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was Babaji Maharaj's only disciple. Babaji Maharaj was an anchorite who had sworn not to take any disciples, but he was forced to change his decision when he saw Saraswati Thakur's determination and devotion. The story is told that Srila Prabhupada asked Gaur Kishore Das Babaji
(9:30) program हमारा सुन people half an hour. First he can speak in English and then same thing he will speak in Hindi. It would is better.
थोड़ा दे देंगे
हाँ तो पढ़ा थोड़ा गार्गल करेंगे और खुल जाए.
जैसे क्या बोलते हो या
हाँ जैसा हाँ हम लोग पढ़े थे. हाँ हम लोग
The story is told that Srila Prabhupada asked Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj several times to give him initiation. The first time he asked, Babaji Maharaj told him, if Mahaprabhu tells me to, I will. The second time Babaji Maharaj told him that he had forgotten to ask Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada did not give up and came a third time. Babaji Maharaj said, virtuousness, scholarship and other qualities are not the mean to attain the Lord. They do not give you any right to initiation. Through he had been turned back by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Thought he had turned back by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Repeatedly, Srila Prabhupada did not abandon his resolution. Ramanujacharya was turned back 18 times before receiving the mercy of Goshti Purna. Srila Prabhupada showed his qualities of patience and determination, continued to come to Babaji, humbly entreating him to give him initiation until finally his heart melted and out of great affection mercifully initiated Srila Prabhupada by sprinkling the dust of his lotus feet on his head. Gaur Das Babaji would never allow any materialistic person to touch his feet. If they did so, he would make a show of anger saying, "You are doomed." Most people were thus afraid to attempt it. On this occasion, however, he himself offered the dust of his feet to his dear disciple and smeared it on his body. From Srila Prabhupada's disciples, it is heard that he turned back 12 times before Babaji Maharaj became compassionate and initiated him at his 13th request. Others say that it happened on the 14th time. The story reminds one of the Narottam's initiation by Loknath Goswami. Unswearing benedictions to the Guru is the sign of a disciple. Afterward, Babaji Maharaj, judging Srila Prabhupada to be eminently qualified for the task, blessed him and ordered him to preach Mahaprabhu's message all around the world. Srila Prabhupada describes his Guru. Srila Prabhupada wrote the following words about his Guru with exemplary humility in order to show that world definitely the path of auspiciousness. In order to complete the gaping needs that I felt, I was busily trying to get my hands on everything under the sun. Possessions would fulfill my needs. Over time, I had indeed accumulated a great number of rare possessions, but I was not able to rid myself of the sense of being unfulfilled. I had encountered many personalities who were reputed to be great saints, but saw various lacunae in every one of them, and so was unable to give them my respect. Fortunately, the supremely merciful Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu allowed two of his dearest companions to show their kindness to me. I was egoistically so self-absorbed that I had completely lost any sense of where my well-being could be found. Even so, due to past pious activities, I was able to get association of Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who was my ever well-wisher. My Prabhu often came to visit him and sometimes stayed overnight at his house. Out of mercy to me, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur introduced me to him. From the from that from the time that I first met my Prabhu, my stubborn egoism started to diminish. Previously, I used to think that everyone who took birth in a human body was filled with the same faults that I had. But upon seeing my Prabhu's divine character, I realized that there truly were flawless Vaishnavas in this world who matched the ideal. Since Srila Prabhupada further wrote, many people who saw Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, innocent or experienced, young or old, learned or ignorant, or proud of their being advanced devotees, were not able to truly see him. This is the divine power of Krishna's devotees. Hundreds of people came to him seeking help in fulfilling their material desire, and he would give them advice. But this was a kind of deception. There are countless persons who take on the dress of saintly person and make a show of acting like a saintly person, but on closer analysis are far from the standard. My Prabhu was not a cheater like them. It is clear from his spiritual activities that he identified complete honesty with the truth. His sincere affection was incomparable. It proved that the attainment of spiritual powers is a deception. He showed no enmity for those who opposed him or disregarded or disagreed with him. Similarly, he made no particular external show of affection for those who were objects of his compassion. He used to say, I never love nor hate anyone in this world. Everyone is the object of my respect. Amazingly, Prabhu would be surrounded by people with no understanding, fakers, and materialists, inimical to the path of pure devotion, who thought themselves to be recipient of such a saintly person's mercy, but continued to engage in sensual activities. Prabhu never openly rejected any of these people, but he never openly accepted any of them either. Babaji Maharaj's disappearance. Babaji Maharaj was an expert judge of a character and had highly developed foresight and clairvoyance, often foretelling events in the distant future. On the 30th of Kartik in 1322, Bengali, 1915 AD, Paramahamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji entered the eternal pastimes of the Lord. At that time, he was residing at Ranira Dharmshala in Kulia. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur received the news of his disappearance, he was overwhelmed with feeling of separation from his Guru and immediately hurried to the site of his departure. He was heartbroken to see that Mahants of various Akshiras, ashrams, were busily arguing about where and how to bury his body. The idea of Babaji's was to lay calm in any future Samadhi temple, as such as temple would be attractive pilgrimage site and possibly source of money making. Srila Prabhupada alone stood up and spoke up against this rascaldom. As things heated up, Navdeep's chief of police, Jatendra Nath Singh Ray Bahadur, came to maintain the peace. At that time, Srila Prabhupada had not yet taken Tridanda sannyas. The Babaji argued that as they had taken the renounced order, they had the right to perform the last rites for one of their order. As this was not the case for Srila Prabhupada, he had no rights. Srila Prabhupada displayed his spiritual strength and stated that he was Babaji's one and only disciple. He often asked them if there was any amongst them who had not had illicit sexual relation in the previous 6 months, or even the previous 3 months, or 1 month, or even the previous 3 days. He
Oh, goodness, stop it in. Well, how many more is that?
वो बोल रहे वो धर्मात्मा को एक लिस्ट बना रहे 2-3 मिनट में आज लिस्ट
Can you do some sun now? Just for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Relax, man. Sorry, man.
ओके वो आने तक वो आए जाएंगे 1-2 मिनट करें थोड़ा सा पहले तो 2-3 मिनट लग जाएंगे उनको वो बोले लिस्ट फाइनल करके आएंगे थोड़ा काढ़ा डाल दो तब तक यस बोलो Yes, both of them are making the list.
Yesterday, man, about the meeting, I'm sure.
But Gurman, today you are quite looking very healthy, better than yesterday. Yes, मतलब better. These beats are chanted or to be chanted? All. On. Okay.
Even separate. Even separate, it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for your name. It's in the evening, but there's some. Is it what, today the 4th?
Today is yes, my 4th. Tomorrow.
And I will come back for.
Yes, so you will go after Disha today or tomorrow morning?
The next Saturday. Go on.
Brahman Dikshita also.
खुल गया अजय
हाँ
गुरमाज कल से तो काफ़ी बेटर है कल से काफ़ी मतलब कंपेयर टू यस्टरडे शुक्रिया माता कुछ और चेंजेस करने के लिए ज़्यादा है गुरमाज मेरे पेरेंट्स और तीनों सिस्टर और तीनों जीजा जी आए थे स्टूडेंट्स तो चलो चंडीगढ़ में मिला दूंगा आपका हेल्थ देख के मेरे को लग ही नहीं रहा था कि उनको बुला लूँ अगर पेरेंट्स और सिस्टर्स को वो 6 तारीख को चले जाएंगे और 6 को शायद फिर आप आके सीधा उधर चले जाएंगे हाँ अभी जो कैंप कर रहा था मैं स्टूडेंट्स था उसमें फिर उनको बुला लिया था वो पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे थे हाँ वहीं पे यस वेरी नेक्स्ट टू प्रेम मंदिर
You say when you with them, it's okay.
They will come for the Diksha program.
Okay.
Everyone will come in Diksha program. They were in the Mangalati. They had your darshan in the Mangalati. How many? So, Guru Maharaj, it is around 65 or 67. Few boys are from IIT Ropar, few are from Thapar University, Patiala. Although the college is on, so very less boys came, but still it's a good number. And few of their parents are also there.
Encourage me to see the boys.
Guru Maharaj, when they say Mangalati, when they see devotees, when they see our temple environment, they didn't stop them. They may not do, but they will encourage the children. And one of the IIT professors is also there along with the family. He has done the very good program last week. Around 300 students came from the first year. He will get initiated in Chandigarh batch. So in the evening, if we can have 5-10 minutes for the parent side.
I have to finish my gathering with the 55 people.
Yes, good. Yes, good. Agreed. Yesterday also, because of that reason, I didn't came because. Today your walking strength was also very good in the morning. So it was. No, good man. Your rest helped a lot. From last few days, you were not having rest. It was too hectic schedule. Today we go for a walk. It will make you more open if you. That Mahatma is here. Should I? He's inside. Both of them, they can making the list final. Should I call him? Disha.
started. Yeah. Finish my puja.
Yesterday evening I went Brajamandal Parikrama, lecture there.
Yesterday evening, when I sent message to you, 1 minute,
Huh?
you जाके मदद करो कौन क्या करना है, कौन क्या करना है, कौन क्या करना
गुरु महाराज सब कुछ 7:30 बजे के बाद ही हो पाएगा, अभी तो कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि 7:30 बजे तक गुरु पूजा होती है, उसके बाद में करेंगे।
क्या रहेगा। इसलिए मैं थ्रोट was completely gone. My throat is better than it was. So,
Initial lecture you giving or?
let me question one thing.
Huh?
I can get it if my throat works. I will be tested on the mic. And if you be there, you can also be there.
Huh?
वो मैं बोल रही हूँ आप भी वहाँ पे रहना।
No, initial lecture you giving?
I will try to give,
Okay.
depends on my throat.
महाराज बोल रहे मेरे थ्रोट पे डिपेंड करता है, अगर मेरा थ्रोट ठीक रहा तो मैं करूँगा, नहीं तो आप
If I can, ask you. Then you can figure it out. So I have very short lectures because initiation. Okay. Yesterday my throat was completely gone.
Huh?
Yesterday was, today it was good. Today it opened up. If I can speak, then probably becoming okay. Then I'll speak.
I will be there in initiation. I will be there. But,
So let's see how much throat is. Treatment is in Delhi.
Huh?
You did not do any treatment in Delhi.
Delhi?
You did any treatment?
महाराज बोल रहे आपने ट्रीटमेंट के लिए
You just want to transfer the journey. I don't want to just do that.
Okay. And you finish my puja.
Huh?
Finish my puja.
महाराज बोल रहे हैं फिनिश में पूजा।
And you don't get more. Boss.
हाँ दोनों तब तो भी इनिशिएशन का जो ये होता है ना सारा वो लिख रहे हैं बैठ के हाँ फोन ले लो
Boss.
कैसे बात करना वो बोल रहे मेरे काम खत्म करके आऊँगा मैं वो सब फाइनल काम कर रहे हैं कितना देर 5 मिनट अभी नहीं ये
अमर
माता
माता
जी आई है,
रचना
रचना
माता
माता
जी।
रचना माता जी। दरवाजा बंद करना।
मैंने कल बात किया था चालू किया अगर अभी थोड़ी और चेंज हो जाए तो ज़्यादा अच्छा है। लेकिन एक दिन पहले था हमको मालूम ही नहीं था रिक्शा में देखिए हम पिएगा रिक्शा पहले अगर हमको नहीं मालूम आज भी हमने भजन कर रखा है तो अभी नहीं हो गया और ना बोलो ऐसा काम बोलिए हमने 6-7 महीने बाहर कोई रिक्शा उतरी है रिक्शा होती रहती है तो मेरा प्रिपरेशन शुरू मंथ है प्रॉपर मंथ है और जो दूसरे मंथ है वो सब लगा था 1000 रुपये मतलब उसमें वही वाली काम कर कोई जो पूजा थी
वो थी ये
Okay.